Hello everyone, and welcome to our top 4 team builder for Season 2 of the CGC Draft League. So our top 4 match is going to be against Richi, coach of the Colorado Cramorant, here for a rematch in the semis. Yes, Richi was able to beat Richi in the top 8 match, which means here we are to face each other again, because we did of course face each other in the main season, and we narrowly got the win there. It was honestly a very close set. We got through the skin of our teeth, and we did get 1 game loss there, and I would be surprised to see if we get 2 game losses here, because I do not have the confidence for this one, y'all. Like, Richi's team is already so objectively good, especially into us, I feel. And now that we've actually played a set, I feel like it would have given him the chance to really solidify his game plan against us. Which means I knew we had to change some things up about the team, because doing the exact same thing again, I genuinely don't think is going to work. And yeah, we've honestly worked very hard on this, like the front office and I. Like, we've tried a bunch of different ideas, different mons, different sets, practiced a lot, and this is the best team that we've came up with overall. It's not foolproof. I don't think it's going to go perfect. I feel like it's going to be a very close set, but it's the best we've got, and we've worked very hard on it. So regardless of outcome, I'm excited to play this match for sure. I'll quickly go over his team again. I'm not into as much detail as last time. Of course, we've already done that in the previous team builder video, but I just kind of want to briefly highlight some of the bigger threats I feel that I expect to see. So you've got Dragapult and Iron Valiant, the A tiers up top. That's what Richi led against us every game of last set, and I would not be surprised if he does a very similar thing this time around. They're just oppressively offensively good into us, like into most mons. Like, there's just so much offense coming off of these 2 mons, and they're so fast, which means our own fast mode it's something that's really hard to get off well, I feel, because Dragapult naturally and Valiant with the booster energy is able to outspeed our Noivern. So unless I want to scarf the Noivern, which is not really something I wanted to do, but I did say I did test tried the scarf Noivern. It's not like I can guarantee get the speed control I'm looking for against these 2. So yeah, that already is oppressive enough in itself, and yeah, Dragapult was running the weakness policy last time around with some Shadow Sneak proc. Means the Pulse just put out some crazy damage. Now I don't really expect to see the Pulse run weakness policy again, but I still expect some kind of damage boosting item, whether that be Joyce Band, Specs, maybe even a Life Orb. It's hard to say if we go more on the physical or special side, because I personally think physical is better into us, but he went special last time. But he could try and keep us on the toes by running a physical set this time around. It's really hard to call what he'll go for this time, but hopefully we are prepared enough for both. And then Valiant, even though it was kind of more of a supportive role last time with the whole self-proc and wide guard and such, this thing can put out a lot of damage too. And yeah, I've just got to be very careful overall. With that booster energy, it just makes it so difficult to play a fast mode, which is why I've kind of doubled down for more of a Trick Room mode this time around, as you'll soon see. We've got Bronzong next, speaking of Trick Room. Even though Bronzong wasn't brought to us last time, I still think it's a solid mon into us. Like, a good Iron Defense body press set is honestly really difficult for our team to deal with, especially with the strat we went with this time around. Now, I don't 100% think it will come just like last time, just because I think our A-tier ghosts in Golden Go and Annihilate really scare it off. But if you can deal with those threats and have effectively enough with the other mons on his team, which he most definitely can do, then I think Bronzong could give us a run for our money. Like, it's a really tough mon to deal with overall, and yeah, I've got to be very careful if it does come. Crocodile, one of the main stars, honestly. If you think the first 2 were bad, like Crocodile, like, it puts on so much offensive pressure onto our team. We've got a lot of ground weaknesses, and we did bring Arbaliver this time, which helps a little bit against that, but we've decided to bench it this time around for the strat we're going with, which means Crook has even more of a field day, which is something I do not like to see. I ran Assault Vest last time, which is pretty good into us with a lot of the special attackers we're running, really good into Golden Go for sure, and Intimidate was kind of a cheekier play he went with last time, just in hopes of actually getting a Defiant boost on our Annihilate to then foul play it, which, yeah, that was a really great spicy idea by Richi. It never happened, but yeah, it's definitely something you can do, and something I actually didn't even think about last time round. So I do genuinely think he will go for Moxie this time round. I feel like Moxie is just so good into us that you get 1 KO with a Crook, which is not exactly hard by any means, and this thing could just sweep for our team. But yeah, we'll have to see for sure. Yeah, I kind of expect the set to be similar on Crook if it does come this time around. I don't really feel like you need to change much on something that's not broke. If it's not broke, don't fix it. But yeah, we'll see. We've got Rotomo. Honestly, like, this thing's terrifying. Like, I already was scared of it going into last time round, but Richi's really loved the spec set this season, and if he does go for the exact same specs Rotomo this time around, it's going to be really hard to deal with the amount of damage it does overall. So like I think most of our mons like get maybe not one shot, but like very like easy 2 shots, but pretty much everything on our team. So I really hope it doesn't come, to be honest. I don't want to have to deal with the Rotamo running specs again. Maybe even run a bit more speed this time, because it underspeeding our Scun tank by 1 was kind of what allowed us to win the set last time round. So yeah, if it does come, I'm expecting a similar set, but we'll see. Vivian was the only one that didn't really do much for Richi in the last set, I believe. I think the main reason was because he brought it with the intention to try to match our Tailwind, which we didn't bring last time round. I personally think Braviary is a better shout. Like, I'm expecting Braviary over Vivian this time round, just because Braviary puts on so much more offensive pressure, while also being able to match Tailwind. You know, Brave Birds into so many of our mons does so much damage. So if I'm expecting any of the flying types here, I'm expecting it to be Braviary over Vivian this time round. Clawitza's kind of just there. I don't really expect it to come, just like last time, because I feel like Clawitza, it only does like really well if you kind of using your own Trick Room mode, which means you kind of need to double down that with the Bronzong idea. And when I'm already running a slow kind of Trick Roomy team like last time, Richi might not want to mess with that. But you never know, maybe you'll try and... That can be quite annoying for Trick Room teams when you have also an opposing slow mon to deal with. And it does put out some good damage for Clawitza, so you never know. It's not impossible, but I'm not really expecting it, you could say. Pachirisu, once again, it's kind of just there. I don't really expect it to come as well as Rotamo. You know, you can definitely run both. It's not like they share any weaknesses by any means, but I just feel like the offensive pressure that all the other mons kind of have on the field by having, you know, just 2 offensive mons rather than 1 at a time. I just feel like Patrice is more likely to get benched again this week. But, you know, again, it's not impossible. You know, a Super Fang and a Nuzzle here, there, like, that could be quite annoying for our team, to be honest. So, yeah, then we've got Pyro to finish off. This is, like, kind of similar to our Scun tank in a way. Like, it's that really solid D tier that I feel like has been performing so well for Richi, and our team doesn't like fire types, so yeah, Pyro is a massive problem. The fact it gets a nerve as well is also, like, oppressive in a very different sense, because any berry strat we may want to run on any of our mons, it just means you have to really think twice about it with the Pyro having a presence and such. You know, it was Houndoom last time in Series 1 of the Draft League, and now Pyro this time. You know, there's always some Unnerve mon which he seems to just draft and do really well into us with, so you need to, you know, put the concern into with the team building process. So yeah, I'm expecting Pyro to come again. It's a very good mon to us. Yeah, if I had to name the 6 that I expect to come, I reckon it would be Dragapult, Iron Valiant, Crocodile, Rotamo, Braviary, and Pyro. Maybe Bronzong in one of those slots, but yeah, those are the 6 that I'm predicting. So yeah, we'll soon see. As for the team itself, I usually kind of just go through the list in order, but I've got a very kind of specific plan for this match, so I'll kind of go in a more specific order as well. So I'm going to start off with the Gardevoir. So, you know, I kind of already briefly mentioned it, but it's no secret that I really want to focus on more of a Trick Room mode this time round. Because even though we had a Trick Room mode that worked well last time round, I feel like it was a very kind of risky way to get it off. You know, we ran the Terra Norm in hopes of tricking the Dragapult with the Ghost move, and yeah, we did kind of prank Richi with that, which allowed us to win the game free. But I don't want to have to rely on Terra to do that, so I was trying to think of a way to kind of get Trick Room off as safely as possible with this team, because we don't have like any tools like Fake Out on this team, and even though Venomoth does have redirection in Rage Powder, I just wasn't really liking it in practice. Like, it wasn't doing enough for the team, and it was kind of giving out too many resources. You know, because you kind of just intend to sack the Venomoth just to get a Trick Room off safely. So I was just kind of racking my brain on how I could possibly get the Gardevoir to get up a Trick Room safely, and it's definitely not easy by any means. Like, Richi has enough offense to KO Gardevoir in one turn if I let him do that. So yeah, that's scary, but I feel like the main trick we've got up our sleeve this time is I'm bringing the Avalugg. I'll kind of go back to the Gardevoir set in a moment, but because I want to focus on the Avalugg here. This is the kind of set I want to run on this thing all season. We ran it once against Mike with the whole body press stuff, I think it was, but yeah, this time around I want to go full AV, so that means it's really tanky on both sides, obviously way more physically than special, but you know, it can actually take some special hits with the investment in Assault Vest, and we're kind of just going on the all-out offense here with Ice Spinner, Stone Edge, Heavy Slam, and Terra Blast. Terra Water, the reason we're running that Terra Water is mainly for the Pyro, because that should be able to one-shot most Pyro, unless he runs a fair bit of bulk, which he didn't last time, so hopefully a Terra Blast into the Pyro should be able to one-shot. The own tempo is great, just in case the crit does bring Intimidate, because we are immune to the attack drop from that, which is nice. Heavy Slam is great into the Iron Valiant. Ice Spin, like, it's honestly really good into Richi, because he has I think 5 of his 10 mons on his team are all weak to ice. So I did kind of want to bring Avalugg last time around, but it just didn't quite fit into the team as well. But yeah, I feel like it's got a more what's the word? I just feel like it's got a better role this time around and should be able to put in more work. So the current plan is to kind of lead Gardevoir and Avalugg together, because what the idea is here is that it kind of gives the Richi an ultimatum in that you kind of either got to deal with the Gardevoir potentially sent the Trick Room, or the Avalugg, which is the actual offensive piece here. So these two, I think, as a lead, should be effective into most things, at least in the Game 1 situation, because, of course, Richi ran the Dragapult Iron Valiant lead into us every single game last time, so if he does that again, I'm hoping that the Casid Berry on Gardevoir will allow us to get up a Trick Room without having to commit to, like, the Terra Normal like last time, because Casid Berry means that we should survive any Ghost attack with a decent amount of HP, hopefully, and then also, hopefully, any attack coming from the Valiant. It's not exactly perfect, there's no guarantee we can survive the attacks from those two if they double the Gardevoir, but I'd like to think the bulk that we're running on this one, plus the Casid, should give us enough to hopefully survive that. We've also got Protect if we don't like the situation we're in. We can also just Protect turn ones, you know, say, because I think it's a very common strat in general in doubles. You want to try and KO the Trick Room setter to kind of stop the enabling the rest of the team. So if I'm able to get him good with that and just protect turn 1 but also dealing with a threat, that could also give me some leeway to do well. Moonblast is just great into most of Richi's mons for some good damage, and the Mystical Fire is some kind of decent coverage into Bronzong if we need to hit it for some damage, and also good damage mitigation into some of the special attackers, mainly the Rotom mode, to be honest. So yeah, that's the Gardevoir set. Terra Grass, I'm honestly most scared of Rotom and Crocodile offensively if it's not the Pult Valiant combination, so I've decided that Terra Grass might be a nice out if we have to Terrestrialize to get the Trick Room up a bit more safely. So this also means we're immune to Sleep Powder if the Vivillon does come and tries to play any games like that. So yeah, I feel like Terra Grass, if any Terra here, is going to be the most useful for us. And then the Trace is always nice, for, you know, even if it's not getting the most useful abilities, it does give us some information on stuff like the Dragapult, say it's Clear Body and Infiltrator, stuff like that. We can learn info on that. Say we trace the Levitate off of Rotom, means it's decent against the Crook with the ground moves and such. You know, it has its uses, so yeah, hopefully Trace will do well for us as well. One thing I will say about the other luck though, I've went back and forth constantly if it should be Avalanche or Stone Edge. Now, I'm going with Stone Edge in the end, hoping that the extra coverage will be more useful, because say we're forced into a situation where we can't Terra, when we have to hit the Pyroar, we can't really do much damage without the Stone Edge, which is kind of why I'm going for it. Of course, the shaky accuracy is very risky, so I'm hoping that doesn't screw us in the end, but yeah, that's the idea. I think the half the appeal of Avalanche is that in a turn 1 situation like I'm talking about, if I have to get off the big damage of Avalugg but without the Trick Room and we take any damage, the Avalanche is actually way better than Ice Spinner in those kind of situations, but I've decided that the coverage is going to hopefully be more worth it in the end. So yeah, hopefully it's the right decision, we will soon see. But yeah, so that's kind of the main Trick Room mode we've got going here. I'm hoping these two pop off quite well, because I feel like if Richi does go for the Dragapult Iron Valiant leads again, then I feel like these two do fairly well into those two, especially if we Terra the Avalugg turn 1, which we probably would in that kind of situation, which means we might actually get away with him maybe not leading the Pult and the Valiant in a game 1 situation, maybe for some other leads in like game 2 or 3, at which point some of our other strats might be able to go to town a bit more effective. So we'll go with Noivern first, because we've kind of got a dual mode going here. If I commit too hard to the Trick Room mode, then and the speeches aren't varied enough, then I feel like it kind of gives us less room to kind of get to adapt, if that you could say. So we've got this Sash Noivern this week. I'm still not massive on the set, to be honest, because the fact that the Booster Valiant and the Dragapult can naturally outspeed it does scare me. Richi, I believe, didn't actually go max speed on the Dragapult last time round. He actually undersped on Noivern if we did choose to bring it. So yeah, maybe he will go for a similar thing and we can actually get off a Tailwind or something in front of it before it can attack, but we'll have to see. Because the thing is, even though we're not running Protect in it, I decided that we're probably going to pair the Noivern with the Golden Go if we're going to do a lead like this. So rather than play a game where I'm like trying to protect the Noivern, I kind of once again force an ultimatum. Which mon do you want to deal with, per se? So in the kind of situation like that, I'll probably be clicking Tailwind and then big attack on Golden Go, which we'll go over in just a second. I could have put Protect in it, but I just really value all 3 of the attacks we've got here. The Draco Meteor is solid into the Dragapult and just anything that doesn't resist it. Air Slash is great into the Valiant, and then Flamethrower means we can still hit stuff like the Bronzong for some decent damage. Fire to potentially boost that damage, and also me to resist any Moonblast or Icy Wind or whatever the Valiant may want to do into us. So yeah, that's the main idea behind that. Frisk is of course invaluable in any match, trying to figure out what items that he's running and such. So yeah, hopefully Noivern can pull through if we do bring it this week. But this, again, I kind of like the Trick Room mode a bit more. I feel like we're more likely to go for the Noivern mode if I can kind of force out different leads from Richi based on the initial strategy. But yeah, like I said, we'll probably go pair Golden Go with the Noivern if we're doing that lead, and we're going all out with the Golden Go this time. Like, you know, going out with potential bang if this is our last week playing. You can tell I'm not confident, oh my god. But yeah, we're running Specs again, just like the first week into Richi, but this time actually committing to the Terra Steel. Now, it's no secret I really love my defensive typings, so I'm wondering if a Terra Steel Golden Go, just going all out with crazy damage from Make It Rain or even Steel Beam, might actually catch Richi off guard. Now, there has been part of me that's like conflicted on whether I should just run a defensive Terra, like maybe Grass or Flying or even Fairy for that very neutral kind of typing like we did last time round, but I just feel like making kind of safe defensive Terras might not be what wins us this set, so I kind of just want to go really hard with the Terra Steel if I'm looking to do some damage with it. So yeah, that's the kind of idea behind that. You lead Noivern, you click Tailwind, you click Specs, Make It Rain, or whatever big attacks Golden Go's going for here. So yeah, that's the main plan with that. Power Gem is of course great coverage into the Pyro mainly, also Braviary if it does come, Vivian, all that good stuff. Shadow Ball's good into the Pult, the Valiant, Bronzong. So yeah, that's the Golden Go set. You may notice I'm not running I've actually left 4 speed EVs out here, or just 4 EVs in general, and the main reason is because I didn't want it to speed tie with Skuntank, and I feel like even if we're going for like a kind of a Trick Room situation here, and Golden Go's like in the back or something, then it means that Golden Go will underspeed the Skuntank. Now, it's not really a relevant kind of thing to have here, but sometimes getting off like a big spread attack, so Skuntank can like go for a big gunk shot or something could be nice, because yes, it is running that once again. I'll go into more detail on the Skuntank in a moment, of course, though. As for the speed itself, like we've got enough speed on Golden Go, like even though obviously no speed, like its base speed is nice in that it can pretty much outspeed the Pult, assuming it doesn't run like timid max speed in Tailwind, but also it means we're underspeeding most of Richi's threats if we're going for the Trick Room mode. So it's a nice kind of balance between the both there, so it can kind of work on both modes, which is nice. Now, another alternate mode, if I really want to do the Trick Room, and I still don't like the Noivern Golden Go idea, means we can actually run the Scarf Annihilate. We are going to for the final gambit this week. I know it's not something I've really done much this season, but once again, it might catch Richi off guard, which might be invaluable in a set like this. So the issue with Annihilate, again, into the Pult and the Valiant, is that the Valiant especially, is it can just outspeed the booster, which really shuts down a final gambit set if you can just threaten big damage into it immediately. So like I kind of spoke about with the hopeful fast mode, if I can do well with these two as a lead, I'm hoping that I can kind of force Richi to not leave Valiant in some way, and then I might be able to get away with like a good Annihilate lead in like the game 2 and maybe get off like a big final gambit. It's also an alternate mode of enabling the Trick Room. So say I want to do like Annihilate Gardevoir, and if the Valiant isn't there, I can just click final gambit into one of the mons most likely, and then just click Trick Room with Gardevoir and just go from there. Maybe bring the other lug fresh for the next turn and such, which is really nice. Now of course it's not foolproof because the Valiant does like to lead with Richi, so I do have a backup plan if I do lead the Ape and the Valiant does come still, and that is the Terra Poison Gunk Shot. That should be able to one-shot any Valiant, at least with its base typing, of course. And then Close Combat and Shadow Claw is just great for a Scarf and Ape. But I don't really expect to run the top 3 moves. It really is a final gambit bot here, but you know, it means that we can do other things we have to in like some desperate situations. Gunk Shot's also really good into the Rotom Mow, so that's the reason I went for something like that over U-Turn, because I feel like I'm not ever going to click U-Turn with the Ape, because the main situation where I want to get out of there is when the Valiant's there, at which point it's already outspeeding, and why U-Turn it when you turn and such when I can just go for the KO with the Gunk Shot, right? So yeah, that's the Ape. And then we've got Skuntank to round off the team. Once again, a solid D tier overall. It just does so well. I've really struggled to kind of figure out the exact set I wanted on it this week, but decided on Gunk Shot, Sucker Punch, Feint, and Protect, which I think is exactly what we ran last time. Running a little bit more attack this time, just in hopes of that Gunk Shot will be enough to actually KO a bulky Valiant like Richi ran last time, which is definitely possible. I want to make sure I have the highest chance possible of KOing the Rotom Mow. And the Black Glass is, I kind of went back and forth from the item. Like, it's nice to have a stronger Sucker Punch, but I did consider the Air Balloon. Now, because of all the practice I did, I don't think the Air Balloon would actually be as useful as I'd like it to be. Because sure, it's great into the Crocodile and that you're immune to the ground attack, which is nice and all, but just because with the speed tiers that kind of go on and such, I just feel like the Air Balloon actually isn't going to get use. Now, it is of course a risk because Crocodile is very scary, but yeah, that's what I've decided on the end. I feel like the Black Glass is going to be more useful than the Air Balloon for us, so yeah, that's the hope. I also consider Foul Play over Protect on Skuntank, so we're trying to do massive damage to the Crocodile that's getting out of hand with like a Moxie Boost, and it's like terrored into a type that doesn't resist Dark. It could be solid into that, solid into the Dragapult, if it's like, especially if it's a lot more physical set and such, but I just felt that Protect would be nice to have, because if you look across the entire team, we don't actually have that much Protect. It's only the Gardevoir and the Skuntank that have it, so I feel like having maybe another option to Protect isn't a bad thing, gives you more outs and such, so yeah. And then Terra Grass, once again, similar to the Gardevoir situation, like say the Rotom and Crocodile are just give me a really hard time, it might be a nice out to just Terra Grass on them, and we don't go down immediately. The bulk is kind of middling and such, you know, hopefully we can take 2 attacks from some mons, but you know, it's Skuntank. Even though you can make it very bulky, with the attack investment I wanted, it means I could only invest so much in the bulk and such. So yeah, we'll have to see if it can pull through or not this week. I've decided on Aftermath, although I actually did consider Stench for the first time this week, because while Aftermath is great into the physical attackers, or just any contact move when it goes down, it's honestly only the Bravery or maybe like Stomping Tantrum off the Crocodile that I expect the Aftermath to really proc against Richi's team. At which point I actually thought that maybe Stench could be useful if I'm trying to get like a cheeky flinch off of like a Feint or Sucker Punched as an out into one of the games and such, but yeah, I've decided that Aftermath is just more solid overall. Maybe I should be actually go for Stench, it could be a bit more fun, you know, have a bit more of a RNG in the mix, you could say, but yeah, I've decided that Aftermath is just the most solid ability, so yeah, that is the team. Yeah, I'm really hoping to put on a show for this match. Like, I'd love this to be another close one, because yeah, I really loved the match we played last time round, and yeah, we'll have to see if this is the end of the run or on to the finals. So I really hope you will join me then. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the battle against Richi for our rematch in top 4. See you then. Take care.